Welcome. I'm Greg. This is Stephanie. This is our podcast, Living in Key West. And for this podcast, we're going to be talking a little bit about real estate, a little bit about fun things to do in the Florida Keys, but especially Key West, free and not free, and just life in general. So if you like Key West or you like the Florida Keys, I got a feeling you're going to really love this podcast. So do us a favor. Click that subscribe button. Follow along for our journey. We'll be doing the podcast. We got a couple of other really cool things bouncing around. We're not going to tell you guys that yet, but got a couple of cool things bouncing around.
Yeah,
Stephanie?
Absolutely. So you can subscribe on YouTube, which you may be watching. If you're watching the video, you're probably watching it on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel there, but also in the podcast app on your phone. You can subscribe to the podcast as well, which is also really helpful, and it'll make sure that you don't miss any episodes.
Yeah. So definitely do that. Helps us out. Helps us out. Helps you out. Stay in the know.
So today, let's just talk about who we are, how we ended up in Key West, what we're doing here, and there's some cool things coming up that we're going to talk about that we're going to be taking part in, and just different random stuff on the island, things we've discovered thus far in our journey. And then I have some funny questions, just I don't know.
For our first podcast.
Just silly
get
stuff.
Going. And other times we'll have some special guests. We'll have our broker, Derek, on if he's in the office. So
especially when we're doing, our real estate chat. That's always good to have his brain involved.
Yep.
And so we'll definitely have special guests, and I aspire to do chatting with Conchs as well, because there's so much history here on this island. If you are not familiar, there is a rich history of life here on this island. So much has happened here.
No one knows about.
No one knows about it.
Kept with the Conchs.
Yeah, exactly. So
keeping it real with the Conchs.
Keeping it real with the Conchs.
We're still working on the name, but I'm not opposed to chatting with Conchs, keeping it real with the Conchs.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So I want to have either special episodes where we talk with Conchs, because I'm sure there's so much to talk about, or at least segments in some of our episodes where we're talking with Conchs.
I think we can do a whole series on it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably just I want to get
the nitty gritty.
Oh yeah.
Get down.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What really was Ernest Hemingway like?
Well, we've already heard some of that.
What did Jimmy Buffett do here on the island?
Before he was famous.
Before he was famous.
When he was just Jimmy.
Just little old Jimmy. So, anyways, this is just some of the things we got going on and that we are going to do for our podcast, and we're really excited to do that and get those out. We just got to sit down and we got plenty of Conchs to talk to.
Oh, absolutely.
So we're going to do that. But a little bit about us is actually it's been about a year, which is absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
We sold our house in Gainesville, Florida. We had lived there for 20 odd years, a little less than 20.
A little less than 20, but pretty
because
darn close.
we met at the University of Florida back in 06, 05, in that area.
Yep.
Clearly liked each other. So we got married and bought a house in Gainesville and stayed there for quite some time. We love Gainesville. Absolutely love it. But we knew it was time for a change, and we wanted to just kind of blow our life up a little bit. And,
absolutely.
Just do it totally different. So we actually sold our house, sold everything in our house, pretty much everything, and then said, we know we love the Florida Keys. I've been coming to the Keys my whole life. Stephanie's been coming for as long as she's known me, so 15-ish years, and we knew we loved it. We saw one side of it. We did a lot for mini season and all that, but in the past couple of years, we've come down for a month, just us, and we would stay in the lower Keys. So we stayed in Lower Sugarloaf one year, and then we stayed in Ramrod this year. And
we loved it.
And we loved it. We always were in the Marathon area, so Key Colony, Marathon, Duck Key, Grassy Key. But we knew, when we made that, we're like, how are we going back further up north? And there's nothing wrong with that, because again, I've done that for 30 years. So
well, and it's just different vibes, and it's the same conversation you have with people who, you feel like some people really love Key West, and some people not as much. It's just different tastes, kind of just what are you here on the Keys for? And like in Marathon, I find it to be a bit more busy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, it's a bit more focused, from my perspective, it's a bit more focused on like a lot of activity. That's kind of a weird way to say it. It's just busier there. Like there's just a lot going on in Marathon. Whereas I feel like when you get to the lower Keys, there's still that focus on fishing and nature and all of that, but it just seems like the living's a little slower.
Well, especially from like Stock Island up to, because when you're in Key West, it is busy, right? I mean, that's where a lot of the tourists come. That's where there's just a lot of events that happen in Key West. So there's still a lot that going on. It's just a different vibe.
It is.
It truly is, and it's hard to explain.
It's an energy.
But
there's an energy in Marathon. There's an energy in the lower Keys, Ramrod, Sugarloaf, those types. There's a different energy in Big Pine, in my opinion. There's a different energy in Key West. There's a different energy in Newtown Key West and Old Town Key West. There's just different.
There's just different vibes throughout.
It's hard to explain.
And truthfully, before we made the leap to actually come down to Key West, at least I was questioning.
Yeah.
Do we want to go to Key West?
Yeah.
We've been to the Key West plenty of times.
We were in Ramrod.
Day trips.
We loved it.
We loved Ramrod.
Yeah.
We're like, do we want to go? But now, since we've been down here, when we made that trip, we were like, I don't want to leave Key West.
Well, and in truth, I think our experience of Key West had been quite limited.
Yeah, because we've only done day trips.
We've only done day trips, and we came and we did this sort of like very, like I had to get my kinos when we were here. We would do just like the very sort of quintessential things you would do on a day trip in Key West, which was great, but it wasn't necessary. I don't think those quintessential things are necessarily like things we would obviously want to do every day. So I think we were just having trouble picturing like what life would be like on the island. I'm so glad that we made the leap and did it, obviously.
Yeah,
but
I love the walkability. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you drive just because you don't want to walk,
or super hot.
But you can get a bicycle, a tricycle, a scooter, a moped. You can get any of that stuff.
Or just walk.
Or just walk.
Yep.
Get some nice comfortable shoes.
Yep.
Maybe some padded insoles and go on out there and just cruise and there's always something going on. There's always, not saying that you got to go to a bar, but there's a lot of, we actually hardly ever go to bars, but there's live music at them. There's always something going on, especially if you're just here visiting.
Yeah.
There's something going on in Key West that you can find out that you can go do. And even if you don't stay in Key West and you want to stay in Sugarloaf or Ramrod or any of those islands in between, it's not that bad of a drive. It's 30, 45 minutes, but you're driving the water. So there's a lot
worse drives
than driving that. Yeah. So anyway, so we sold our house back in November and we wanted to do just a little bit of travel and see if this is where we want to be. And we went to St. Augustine, we went to St. Simon, we went to Greenville, which we stayed at the longest. Then one of our little babies, and by babies I mean dogs, just wasn't feeling good, and the vet really up there in Greenville, wasn't our vet, so we wanted to take her back to Gainesville. So we went back to Gainesville, and we made the decision that we were going to stay in Gainesville until she got
better,
pretty much 100% better.
Yeah.
And then we would choose our next destination. And while our next destination was the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
And we drove down and...
Well, once we started talking about it, we realized that we both had independently... Well, I think, back up. So when we sold our house, the plan was very intentionally not to have a plan.
Yes.
Because we wanted to make sure that we were living life deliberately. It's very easy to get into a rut or get to where you just continuously do the same things over and over without thinking about it, because there's some comfort in that, and there is comfort in that. But I think for us, it was like, we didn't really have anything holding us in Gainesville. We have wonderful friends and, our wonderful groomer and our wonderful vet, our wonderful.
We had a lot of wonderful things that we had
yes.
Over time
right.
met and
yes.
and grown our circle.
Yes.
And so that was truthfully, in my opinion, the most difficult part to leave.
No
I wasn't
question.
worried about leaving our house.
No.
Even though we owned it for 13 years. But I wasn't like from the beginning, we knew that wasn't our forever home. So I wasn't, it was sad leaving the neighborhood just because of everyone we had met in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We had a really good neighborhood and really good neighbors.
Yeah.
But
we just decided it was time. Like, we absolutely love our friends in Gainesville, but we just thought, you know what? There's nothing other than our friends who we can stay in touch with. It'll be different, but we can stay in touch with them. There's nothing really holding us in Gainesville. We've worked for ourselves for many years. We can work remotely, and we just thought, let's just take the leap. So that's what we did. That's when we sold our house, and we did not have a plan when we sold our house because
God's honest, we didn't. I think a lot of people find that really hard to believe.
Yeah.
Wait, you're telling me you didn't have a plan? We did not have a plan.
We had no
plan. Knew we were selling our house.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going to travel. And we didn't know where we were going to travel. We didn't know when we were going to travel. And we knew how we were going to travel. We knew we were going to be in our Subaru. And we were going to get a topper. And in the beginning leg, our really good friends that lived down the street were going to watch our big dog. So that gave us a little bit more flexibility in places that we could stay. But God's honest, we didn't know what we were doing. I think a lot of people struggled with that. Like, what? Like,
we weren't telling, or we weren't, we didn't know. And again, I keep going back to that was by design, which I think makes a lot of people really nervous.
Yep.
Understandably so. There were very stressful portions of our travels for sure, but we really didn't know. And what we wanted to do was force ourselves out of our comfort zone and go places. We kept saying, like, we were open to how, like, the journey unfolded, or like how the road opened up in front of us. So, like, a lot of times we would pick places because we would, like, find a place that we could stay that, like, we liked, or it made sense, or it was, think about it. So we sold our house right before Thanksgiving. We were able to stay at our friend's house for a couple of days until Thanksgiving Day. And we probably could have stayed, but we decided to leave. We wanted them they left to go to their families. So we went and stayed there. It worked out perfectly because it was across the street. We were able to put a couple of things there that we weren't able to sell, or we ended up keeping. And it all worked out perfectly. But Thanksgiving Day, we decided to leave. And that was probably the most heads up of a place we knew where we were going. Yeah.
We had already booked that place, but we booked it maybe like a week prior. And that was a whole ordeal itself.
Yeah, it was. There were many ordeals, but ultimately we were just...
That was in Jack's Beach.
That was in Jack's Beach. And then the road unfolded from there, and we kind of went where the wind blew us, so to speak, because, at least from my perspective, I wanted to be open to the journey and open to where we were led, because although we absolutely love the Keys, and probably if we would have had the conversation and said, where do we both want to live, we both would have said the Keys. But at that point, I felt like I didn't want to just pick a place that we knew, because it was like, well, this is just the place that we knew. It's like, is that really where we want to be?
Yep.
Or is that just another familiar place? And so that's what we're picking. And so I think for me, at least, I felt very much like the travel and the kind of the unknown, right? For the first maybe 6 months or so after we sold our house, that unknown was by design to kind of push us out of our comfort zone and push us to go to places that probably we wouldn't otherwise go, to see, do we feel a connection with these places? Do we feel like this is, because I believe very strongly in the energy. I believe strongly in energy, but I certainly believe strongly in the energy of places. And I think there are places that, like, your soul just feels more at home or at peace. And I've always felt that way in the Keys. There's always been something that's drawn me here, and I believe the same for you as well, like a soul connection. It's funny because we've talked about this, and then since we've been on the Keys, we've met a number of people who independently will say that to us as well, about the soul connection. So, like, other people feel it, And then we know a lot of people who absolutely do not feel that connection.
And they like to come here for a couple of days and leave.
Yeah, they feel a soul connection
too.
in New England, or they feel a soul connection on a lake, or they feel a soul connection in the mountains of North Carolina. I feel very connected there as well, but not to this level. Not to this level.
It's different.
Yes.
I think during our travels, I've discovered that I want to live in the Keys.
Yeah.
Vacation in the mountains.
Yeah.
And
we love the mountains of North Carolina. We actually have a place in the mountains of North Carolina. So I'm very excited that we had the opportunity to vacation there and spend time there. But in terms of like where we went to live full time, I believe our travels only serve to solidify that feeling, because what I found is that I was searching for that feeling in all these different places. And then after those 6 months, when we went back to Gainesville, it was like we both sort of looked at each other and said, we want to be in the Keys. And our travels had only served to like underline that, I think, because we never felt that feeling that we have in the Keys in any of the other places that we traveled to, which I think then if you look at it, you go, well, then your travels served exactly their right purpose, because you were going, okay, is that really where we want to be, or is there somewhere else? And it was like, no, that is really where we want to be. So I think it's made me feel even more excited and grateful to be here, because I realized like how lucky are we that not only do we get to live in paradise, but we get to live in a place that like is fulfilling to our souls, you know? And so I think it's been a crazy journey, but
we're here, and our goal is to stay here.
Yeah.
I mean, we absolutely love Key West. We love the city of Key West. We love the people that we met here.
Absolutely.
Like I said, there's always something to do, but if you don't want to do anything, you can just hang out. There's multiple times we'll walk our big dog or our little dog or whatever, and I'll walk out there and be like, we're in Key West.
Yeah, it like washes over
you. We live in Key West, which is really cool, and maybe that fades away, right, over time. I hope not also, but it's really exciting. This is a whole new chapter, a whole new book for us, as far as where we're living, profession, all that stuff. But I truly could not be more thrilled and more excited to do what we're doing. And I think we both have a passion for real estate. We really love the water. We really love the history, and Key West has a ton of history. Yeah. So a lot of the houses have a ton of history. So it's really excited, and we're really glad you guys are able to follow along.
Absolutely.
We've been doing a TikTok for a couple months now, but we have a follow along there, and you can see a lot more in the day and the day-to-day type of stuff, because we'll do random lives.
Yeah, we do a lot of lives, and we'll do I'd like to focus a lot on the history, because it's super interesting to me. There's so many people who are like, I've been to Key West a million times, I never knew this, or oh my gosh, this is amazing, I'll have to check this out. There's so much history here that I think, because Key West is such a tourist town, that is sort of what Key West is known for. I think largely, if people think of Key West, they think of Duval Street, they think of Sloppy Joe's, they think of, the
Hemingway House.
Yeah.
And which is a great thing to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here. All of that is amazing. Like, it's all great, right? But there's so much more to Key West than just Duval Street and just the bars. And, there's so much more if you are interested in expanding into, like, the nature. There's wildlife rescue here. There's, like you said, the Hemingway House, the Lighthouse. There's a literary walk because there's so much literary history here.
There's absolutely tons of stuff to do, but I'd like to before we start going into that, I'd like to circle back to our journey a little bit and keep going with that, and kind of, and just in the past year of where we've gone. So Thanksgiving Day, we left Gainesville and went to Jack's Beach. Yep. And we got to the place, and it was right across the street from the beach, which we knew, which it said, but the place was not as advertised. So that was not a pleasant night. It was really stinky. None of the windows functioned, and they were actually broken. So, like, it was a little scary because, once again, we sold everything and we're traveling with everything. So that means money, belongings, everything. So,
and our pups.
And our pups. So,
Yeah.
it was a little scary when someone could walk right off the street, pop up a window and jump right in and take everything. So we ended up leaving there, went to another place in
Volano, right?
Volano. Yep, Volano Beach, which we absolutely loved. We actually really love this pocket because it's super close to St. Augustine, but far enough away that you're not in that traffic nonstop. But
it's just over the bridge from the historic area of St. Augustine, but it's like a little beach neighborhood, and you can literally walk, like where we stayed from our house. You walk over like a little dune, and you're right on this beautiful beach, and there's like no one there.
You had a beautiful beach on one side, and then you had the ocean, the river on the other side.
Yeah,
really cool.
Yeah,
and so the first place we stayed in, Volano Beach, actually ended up having mold. And we didn't realize
not advertised.
Didn't realize it until a couple of They didn't put that in the fine print. Not really real. We didn't realize it until a couple of days, and like I started feeling.
Yeah.
We all kind of started not feeling well, and then we realized it was up by the vents. So we got out of that and actually moved literally right across the street. Stayed there for a couple more days, so that was really cool. Did we go back to Gainesville after that? Because I feel like we went to St. Simon's from Gainesville.
Yeah, maybe we went back to Gainesville.
I don't know why we would have gone back. Ooh, we did go back. We went and stayed in Williston.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast. we can start a podcast, because since we sold our house, we've probably stayed in about 30 Airbnbs, VRBOs, and some of them have been great.
Yeah.
Some of them have been absolutely terrible.
For a plethora of reasons.
The one in Williston was definitely one that was...
It was a bad experience.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we went there. Then we actually, because that one was so bad, we left it early and stayed at a hotel for a night. And we're like, we got to go somewhere. This circled back to us saying, like, we literally had no plans, like, of where we were going.
We didn't.
We found a place in St. Simon's. Never been, but
we aspired to go. I think it was like
a
place
heard about it.
Yeah.
We always knew that we knew it existed, but we'd never been, and it wasn't like, ooh, let's put this on our list.
No,
but we ended up. We were just looking, and we found, because part of our problem was we had 3 dogs, 2 little ones and 1 big one, and we found one in St. Simon's on the beach. Huge house. It was a really cool house. Had a lot of history too. And we found it like the night before, and it was like $600 off because of how late we were booking. So we went there and stayed there a couple of nights, which was really cool. St. Simon's, definitely suggest going to that. It's a extremely dog friendly.
Yeah, which we did not know, but pleasantly
surprised. We did not know, but they were very dog friendly, which was awesome. It's just a cool little place. So we went there for a couple of nights, which was a lot of fun.
Yep.
Is that where we went to Greenville?
No, because we went to Greenville. Didn't we go to Greenville from Gainesville? Am I imagining that? Or did we go to Greenville from...
Did we go... You know what I think it is? I think I had that a little reversed. I think we stayed in Williston, had an okay experience.
Yes.
Went to St. Simon's.
Yes.
Went back to Williston. Because we still had stuff that we had to do in Gainesville. That's why we were kind of going back and forth. And Williston's really close to Gainesville. So...
part of this conversation is also that we had an incredibly quick close on our house. I say that. It was 30 days. Originally, it was supposed to be like 45 days.
And they sped it up.
You had an art show in that window.
Golly, yeah.
We had an insane
November.
It was an insane November, and we thought we were going to have like another 15 days, and then they wanted to close earlier, and we were like, "Well, we're not going to."
You don't say no,
right? Because in that 15 days, it falls apart, and then you're at a contract or whatever. So it was crazy. So we ended up selling. We closed before we were ready to close, and we just kind of figured it out. But some of that figuring it out was like
us having to come and go.
Come and go, and move things from this place. We put this in our friend's garage, but we need to put it. We got our storage unit. We put it. So there was some coming and going back into Gainesville during that time. So that's why there's some of this back and forth.
So we went back to the same place we stayed at in Williston the first time, and then that's when it took a turn for the worse. And it was not a good experience. So that's when we left early. went and stayed at a hotel for a night, and then we went to Greenville.
Went to Greenville. Yeah.
So I went to Greenville, and we're there for, what, half of December, maybe? 3/4? No, right before Christmas.
Right before Christmas, yep. And then we were there
God, did we go there Christmas Eve? We didn't go there Christmas Eve. We went there like the 23rd.
Yeah, it wasn't Christmas
December.
Eve, but it was darn close to Christmas.
And we stayed at a place.
Yeah.
Greenville, we loved Greenville.
We did love Greenville.
But it was the loudest town I've ever been in.
It's the weirdest
Car-wise,
thing. It's
car
hard,
noise.
but it's hard to explain though, because like even here in Key West, we always say, you know, like where we are 2 blocks from Duval Street, and you really would have no idea. The only indication you ever have that we're near anything is occasionally some live music you hear in the distance, and there is foot traffic. There's some foot traffic, not insane, but there is more than like in a normal Gainesville neighborhood or something like that, right? But overall, it's fairly quiet here, which you would not think because
there's still a lot of traffic.
It's a small, very busy island, at least portions of it, and we're in Old Town. That's one of the busy. You know, it's busy. It's so hard to describe the Greenville noise pollution because if you haven't been there, like they have houses and neighborhoods, but it's almost like every road is somehow like a cut through, or you're right off of like a very busy road, or like I'm gonna call it a highway. It's not a not a 70-mile-per-hour highway, but like a very busy multiple lane road.
A heavy duty like US 1.
Yeah. And then there's also it's very much like a town or a city that's being built actively. There's a lot happening, which makes it really cool and makes it like there's a lot of stuff to do, but there's a ton of construction going on. But it's not, the strange thing about it was like I could tell that like our girls, like their anxiety, our dogs, their anxiety. Well, that's when
Winnie's health stuff
really declined.
Really went up or down.
Yeah, her health. Yeah, because of the anxiety. And I think a huge part of it was this constant
it was
noise pollution.
It was New Year's Eve was like,
oh my gosh,
I've never been around fireworks
just
were nonstop for a week.
It was hours and hours on New Year's Eve.
It was insane.
And then the whole rest of the week, and it was like the commercial grade fireworks, and it was like at the property right behind us, but we were in like a neighborhood. It was the most bizarre thing, and then the construction, you would hear it, and it would be so loud, but it would be like across the entire city. Like it wasn't like it was a house being built next door to you. It was like something happening in downtown, and you were like in a neighborhood on the other side of the city, and somehow these like the only thing I can think is like it has something to do with the landscaping, like the acoustics of the landscape or something.
I mean,
it was the weirdest thing.
And we probably stayed in 6 or 7 places in Greenville. 4 or 5.
Well,
I mean, the first place we stayed at.
Yeah.
Then we moved to that one that was right near the rabbit trail.
Oh, yep.
That's 2.
Yep. Then we stayed at the one with where the fireworks happen.
Yep. So that's 3.
Then we stayed downtown.
Yep. And that's 4. And then we stayed at the other place, which
so
is
5.
So we stayed at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So, and the best one we stayed at was a townhome, but it was right next to downtown in Greenville, and it was actually really cool because that gave us
walkability.
Circled back to the walkability, and us being able to kind of just walk everywhere downtown. And the really cool thing is when we were there, they had the worst snowstorm they've ever had. And it dumped like 10 inches of snow for I know Buffalo just got 4 feet.
Yeah. For us Floridians.
But for Greenville.
Well, we've talked to someone who's from Greenville.
Several locals.
Just like the other day here in Key West, someone we ran into is from Greenville, and we mentioned it, and she was like, oh yeah, that's like a once in a century snowstorm. We were there for it. Yep.
So we were there for that, but that's when we were downtown, so it was really cool. We were able to go to the downtown park, which is like a 60-acre botanical type garden type thing with tons of everything. I mean, it's just really cool.
It's almost like
it's not a botanical garden.
It's almost like a mini version of like Central Park.
Yes.
It's like a green space in the middle of the city, and it's based around the Reedy River. It's Reedy. The Reedy River runs through
There's a huge waterfall. And
Greenville and in downtown Greenville. So there's a huge waterfall. And so they've built this green space around it. And then you kind of go down into it. But if you go up, then you're like on the streets of downtown Greenville. So when it snowed, we were, not even a 5-minute walk from our front door into this park area. And because at that point the roads were so icy and precarious, and Greenville is not used to getting that level of ice and snow and everything else.
Period. Yeah.
People were not driving, thank God. But because we were on foot, we were able to get over to this park, and we were one of the first ones in, and it was gorgeous.
It was truly like a Hallmark movie.
It was like a winter wonderland.
Yeah.
No one had walked through. No one had. It was just pristine and beautiful, and there was a waterfall going through.
I would say that was the highlight of
our travels.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Was that. So we stayed there for a little while. We stayed there for like a month and a half, and we were supposed to stay longer. Then stuff just didn't work out, so meant to be, right?
Yeah.
And we went back to Gainesville because Winnie was feeling really bad.
I think it was the cold, too.
Oh, yes. The cold, the loud noises, us leaving. So she was just...
It was just too much.
She wasn't eating is what the problem was, and she'd go days without eating, and then she'd throw up. And it just was very stressful for her, but stressful for us.
Yes.
And
she also
had
her routine.
Diarrhea.
Yes.
So...
we just had to get her back to where she
had belly issues.
Spend time outside. She needed to be able to spend time outside, spend time in the sun.
Loves to do.
Yes. So we decided to go back to Gainesville because we had our vet and all of our creature comforts, and we were able to, we felt safe there, and we felt like that would be a good place for all of us to sort of decompress and decide what the next move was going to be.
So that's what we did, and we went back to Gainesville, stayed there like Stephanie just said, and then
we were there probably a month-ish?
No, we were there for probably 2 months.
Yeah.
And then made our way back here.
Yeah.
And haven't left.
Yeah.
And absolutely love it. Actually, first time we left the islands was when we went to go look for a car.
In Homestead.
And I said, never again.
Give me back to the islands.
So there you go. You're a little caught up with kind of our journey. And, everything. And really, even like when we came to the Keys, we decided we were coming to the Keys. We actually left the Keys or left Gainesville, and we didn't have a place booked in the Keys.
No, we just started driving.
Because we kind of got, we had a deal worked out with the person in Gainesville to where like I would help out around the house.
It was an Airbnb, and there was stuff that needed to be done.
So he gave us a lot better rate, and then, but we were also understanding, and he ended up having someone offer to pay like way more than we were paying for a week.
Yeah.
And we were already in the midst of leaving in that time frame anyways, but it got bumped up significantly.
Right.
So we're like, we'll just leave. You get the money and we'll leave.
Yeah.
And that's when we said, okay, well, let's just head down to Key West. And
so we pretty much got in the car and just pointed our car south and started driving. And we ended up staying in Seabreeze.
Sebring.
Is it Sebring?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sebring. So we ended up staying
AKA Seabreeze.
The locals call it Sebring.
If you're local, you know. If you know, you know, right?
No, we stayed in Sebring at a hotel for one night, which was fine.
Did we stay 2 nights? We did.
Was it 2
nights.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then it was the second night.
Literally, we're like...
We were getting ready to go to bed.
We either book another night here, which we didn't... Actually, I don't think they had a space.
Right.
Or we just got to go to the Keys, and we messaged multiple people, and finally someone was like, oh, yeah, we'll do it for that. And you can bring your dogs. Part of the problem is we have 3 dogs.
Right.
And one of them's big.
Yeah.
So,
so we booked
literally that night, we booked it, paid for it. The next morning, woke up and drove to Key West, or to the Keys, to Ramrod.
Yeah.
So when we say, like, we were waiting last second,
we were literally waiting for the path to unfold in front of us.
It's
unfolding.
And it's hard for people to understand that, but that is the God's honest truth. That's what we were doing. And here we are.
Yeah. So
and we absolutely love it. So now
I will say that the hotel in Sebring
was cool.
It had very good food. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't you get, was it blackened chicken that you got?
No, blackened burger.
Oh, yeah.
No, chicken.
It was black. Well, I think I got a salad with blackened chicken, but you got a burger, and you really liked the burger.
Burger was good. The fries were really good.
Yeah, surprisingly good for the hotel. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Holiday Inn or
Well,
anything. It was like a local hotel. It was actually nice.
Yeah, it was super dog friendly too.
It's like a golf hotel or something. I think golf's big in Sebring,
yeah.
so I think it's like
Seabreeze.
Sorry, Seabreeze. But yeah, I just remember that the food was good there. You really liked your burger.
I did.
Yeah.
So there you go. You're caught up with our journey to where we are now.
Yeah, we were in Ramrod.
We were in Ramrod for 2 months, and now we're in Key West, and we've been in Key West for 5 months, maybe.
Yeah.
But we've been down in the Keys for 6 or 7 months.
Yep.
So.
And in this time in our travels, we've both gotten our real estate license.
Yep.
And we weren't sure who we wanted to work with. We talked to a lot of different brokers before we decided on one, and we just wanted to hang our license with someone because we wanted to start. And so we did, and it was more of like a national type broker because we weren't sure who we wanted to go with, and we just thought, okay, let's do this. And then through, again, just allowing life to unfold and things to happen the way that they're meant to, we walked into an open house and we started talking with our broker now, Derek. He was doing the open house. It was his first open house he had done in 3 years. But we randomly walked into it because we've just been previewing pretty much every property we can just to learn as much as we can. And we ended up having a great conversation, and
Bingo, bongo, bango.
Here we are. So now we are part of Keys Atlantic Realty here in...
And we love it.
Key West. Yep. We're in our office. We are located on Caroline Street, just above the Funky Rooster.
The Funky Rooster, which is the
shop.
coffee I'm drinking. I'm not a huge iced coffee fan.
Yeah.
But this is actually really good iced coffee.
Yeah.
I had a pump of mocha, so if you go to the Funky Rooster, get a little pump of mocha in it, and it's phenomenal. I made it without it.
I always get a latte. Their lattes are very good. It's a super cute location too. They have a really cute little porch. It's cute on the inside. So, and if you're not familiar in real estate, you have as sales associates, which is what we are. You have to have your sales associate license for 2 years. Then you can study and take your broker's examination. You can get your broker's license. So we are both sales associates. So in order for us to practice real estate, we have to associate our license with a brokerage. We cannot act independently, but we can have our own team, and we do. So Greg and I are our own team with Keys Atlantic Realty, and our team is the Little Island Group. So oftentimes you'll see, if we talk about it, or you'll see branding that's like both of them. So the Little Island Group is us, you and I, and then Keys Atlantic Realty would be you, me, and Derek. It's Derek's brokerage. Yep. He's the broker, and we are the sales associate. So we work with him. So
all facts.
Yeah. So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hold on. I have my list of things.
You have a couple of questions, huh?
I know, I do. Did we want to talk about anything did you want to do any of like the what's going on in Key West, like what we're going to be doing, or do you want to just like start doing that next week? There's a couple.
We can do a quick download of what's going on in Key West right now.
Like what we're getting ready to do. Okay.
Which is tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow is the bike ride.
Yeah. It's Be-Lighted.
Be-Lighted with
the Wesley House.
The Wesley House.
Yep.
So great little thing to do.
Yep.
And
it's for charity. The Wesley House does like family services. They help with foster children and just families in our community that are in need. So they're doing a big toy drive, which like the Key West Realtors Association has supported. Just making sure that kids in our community have a great Christmas morning, really. And they do amazing work. I'm not doing them justice, but they do a lot of work with our families in the community. So the Be-Lighted bike ride is a huge bike ride. It's like a big party, and then there's a big bike ride once it gets dark tomorrow night on Friday.
The party before the bike ride?
It is. I think it's like 4 to 8 is the party, and then the bike ride is at 8 once it's dark.
Ideas, meal.
Yeah. So, and then everyone decorates their bikes with lights, and then they're going to have like a contest for the best decorated bike and all that stuff.
We won't win that because we didn't decorate our bikes.
We haven't had time to do that, but so that's what that is, and you buy a ticket. So if you want to do it, it's like wesleyhouse.org/be-lighted or something like that. You can look it up. You can Google it. But yeah, so we're doing that tomorrow night.
And then, excuse me.
Your coffee's not working.
It's not. I need another coffee. And then Saturday is a really cool thing it's called a charity called Rivers Wish.
River's Wish. Yep.
And essentially, Farmer Jeannie, if you know, you know, and you should know, because that's one of the best things to do in Key West is go to the farm under the prison.
It's under the jail.
Sorry, under the jail.
Yeah. In Key West.
But she also brings in hospice chihuahuas, mainly chihuahuas.
Mm-hmm.
Hospice dogs are just dogs that are in really bad shape from the Humane Society and stuff. And so this is kind of to help her pay for the bills and just keep them all.
So Farmer
as
Jeannie, by
possible.
day, she runs the farm underneath the jail
Yes.
at the Key West, the Monroe County Key West Jail. By evening, actually also during the day, because she brings all her chihuahuas to work with her.
Which is
She
awesome.
runs her own rescue that's hers. It's called River's Wish. So it's named for her first rescue chihuahua, senior hospice chihuahua that she rescued, River. She has, I don't even know, does she have like 8 right now?
She's got
So
a
it's-
handful.
If they're in like end stage of any kidney failure or anything, if they are diabetic or they're really medically challenged or super old and really hard to adopt or just need a lot of attention, the local SPCA or whatever animal services will call Jeannie and ask her if she'll take them in, and she does. And so River's Wish, she established basically so she can I think be donated to help support, because she just does it out of her pocket. So she doesn't do a lot of promotion of it or anything. It's very
That's
small.
actually the first thing I've seen her do.
Yeah, but she's starting to do some fundraising things. So this is what we're talking about.
And it's at Hank's Saloon.
It's at Hank's Saloon. It's like Pictures with the Grinch.
Yeah, it's like 11 to 2 Saturday.
Yep.
And then Saturday night is the parade.
Yep, there's a Christmas
The
parade.
big parade. Big Christmas parade.
Yep.
We'll be on the
Quar
float.
Key West Association of Realtors. We will be on the
So yeah, those are a couple of the things that are going on that if we don't say it now, well, it was too late. They've already happened.
Yeah, and so we'll record another episode that'll come out early next week at some point.
We're gonna try to get it to where we have them coming out every Monday morning or every Monday. I'm not gonna say Monday morning, but every Monday. So then you'll kind of know what's happening throughout the week. Yeah. So we'll try to record on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever.
Because there's a ton of stuff going on right now. So just because we only mentioned the Be Lighted bike ride and Hanks and the parade, there's so much more. So we'll talk about all sorts of stuff, but that's just what right now off the top of our head, that's what we're going to be doing. So,
Question time.
Question time. So these are just fun questions or funny questions. Okay.
And I don't know what these questions are.
Greg doesn't know what these questions
Stephanie does. She's the one who looked them up. While she's doing that, guys, what do you think about my Panama hat? It's, I'm going to be honest, I usually wear baseball caps.
Mhm.
And then we just happened to be walking our dogs down to the ball, and La Rubia
Mhm.
had just moved from Eaton Street, or Fleming. She had just moved her store from Fleming to Duval next to La Di Da.
Mhm.
And so we popped in just to look at them. And I was like, maybe I should toss on a Panama hat.
Mhm.
It could be my thing.
Mhm.
So here's one of my Panama hats. I got 2.
Mhm.
Something's telling me if I like them, it ain't going to be the last 2 I get.
No.
There's lots of colors.
And if you're
lots
in
of
Key
styles.
West, you need to go to La Rubia. Like she has women's hats and men's hats. They're so beautiful, and I didn't know anything about Panama hats until we popped in there, really, and asked her. And it's very cool. Her name's Stephanie, and she's very passionate about it. And it's just amazing to see the craftsmanship. They're all handmade. To see the variations and the artistry, and then obviously they look great. But she has tons of different styles. So this is sort of a quintessential, I think, or like a very classic Panama hat that Greg's wearing. If you're watching on video, but there are some really beautiful, very feminine styles as well. So it's not like just this look with different ribbons or anything. There's different brims, there's different shapes, there's different weaves, there's so many different variations. So definitely pop in if
Check
you're in
it
the
out.
area.
The other one I got it's actually a purple one. I like that one a lot too. But that one's I think she said is more like a sun hat.
Yes. Well, it's got a wider brim,
It's
so
got a
it
wider
covers
brim.
more.
So anyways,
Yeah.
go ahead and leave me your feedback.
Yeah.
If you're nice.
Yeah. And tell her Greg and Stephanie sent you.
Yeah, tell her Greg and Stephanie sent you. She'll know.
Okay, so here are some of the funny questions. All right. So, or some of them are just like getting to know you questions.
Okay.
So not necessarily funny, but some of them are funny. What is your go-to coffee order?
I like a mocha of some
Mhm.
sort.
Mm-hmm.
The con leche, mocha con leche.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's probably it's definitely here. It's
Mhm.
really good.
The Funky Rooster coffee, but
Yeah, Funky Rooster's good.
Cuban Coffee
Cuban
Queen.
Coffee Queen's good.
Babies.
Babies is good. There's actually really good coffee down
There
here.
really
So
is.
you can't go wrong. So it's not like you have to be like, dang it, I'm not next to
Starbucks.
Yeah, or Starbucks.
Yeah.
There's plenty of coffee places. We're lucky enough to be literally right above a coffee place, the
Yeah.
Funky Rooster. But yeah.
Good coffee's not working either. Yep. Okay.
Oh, now I'm gonna yell.
So my go-to coffee order is probably a latte.
Yep.
Just a straight up latte.
Straight up latte.
Yep.
Simple.
And I like a hot coffee pretty much no matter what time of year it is. It can be 100 degrees outside. I still like a hot coffee. I just prefer a hot coffee. But that iced coffee was very
This
good.
is probably the best iced coffee I've gotten.
Yeah.
At a
And
store.
your iced coffee that you make at home is very good too.
I make an iced coffee at home, which is very good. I'll tell you what I put in it. I do my coffee.
Mm-hmm. So just our brewed coffee
Just
from the
our brewed
morning. It's
coffee
just
from the
cooled
morning.
off. Yep.
Ice.
Yep.
Don't get your ice.
That's it. That's the whole recipe.
And I'm done. You're welcome. No, and then I'll put some. Put a little bit of half and half in there.
Yep.
I'll put a little bit of vanilla,
Mm-hmm. Little vanilla extract.
a little vanilla extract, and then I'll use maple syrup. And then
Delicious.
stir to
Yeah.
perfection.
And we actually found a really good cold brew recently. If you're in an area that has Publix, I'm not a huge cold brew fan generally, but for an open house we were hosting, I bought, it's called Bizzy, Bizzy. It's an organic cold brew. It's delicious. Like, it's the best cold brew. And actually we had a realtor friend come to our open house last weekend, and he wanted an iced coffee, and I gave him some, and he was like, "This is so good. What is this?" So, it's delicious if you're looking for an iced coffee. There you go. Recommendation. Iced coffee. Okay. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
What else would it be?
A hot dog? Like, not a sandwich? Like, would you say...
Well, do you call a bun a sandwich? Or do you call a bun bread?
Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's like sliced
Do you
bread.
put bread on top of meat?
So you're saying yes, a hot dog is a sandwich?
I would never say, "Hey, let me get a hot dog sandwich." No. But
by definition,
by definition, I guess technically, right? It's it's bread
meat on bread.
and it's meat.
Yeah.
What say you?
I see no holes in that argument.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to prove that wrong.
Yeah, it's just weird to think of it because it's like round meat.
Well, you would never say, once again, you'd never say, "Hey, oh man, you know what I've been craving? Hot dog sandwich." And people,
No, you'd be
if
like,
you said that, people would be looking at you like,
no,
"Dude,
you wouldn't say a hot dog sandwich. You would say, you know what I really want for lunch? A sandwich. And people would be like, oh, what kind?
yeah, what kind? Is there any other kind of hot dog
A
sandwich?
hot dog. What do you want on it? A hot dog.
A hot dog? No, dude.
You said a sandwich.
Stop clowning. No, seriously, give me that hot dog sandwich. Or a hamburger sandwich.
A
No one
hamburger
says that.
But I guess a hamburger would be a
A
sandwich.
hamburger falls in that category.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What is something that people love that you just don't get? Don't say mine. Do you know what mine is?
No.
Okay.
So I can't say
I don't
it.
want you to steal it because I know we've talked about this.
What is it something? Well, you might as well go because I got to think.
People are going to hate me. I'm going to lose. We're going to lose the podcast listeners.
Okay.
When I
Well,
say
right
this,
now we're
but-
at 0, so it's going to be tough to beat that.
But I it's not that I don't get it, like, intellectually. It's that I just don't, it doesn't resonate with me. Seinfeld. Like, people love Seinfeld. And I understand, like, humor hits everyone differently, but
Yeah.
I
It's
love,
probably the laugh track. Don't they have laugh tracks or no?
gosh, probably, it's like a 90s sitcom,
Yeah.
like everyone, I mean, I love, The Office,
Modern Family.
yeah, I mean, but I'm saying, like, quirky, you know,
Yeah.
like The Office is kind of quirky,
It's not like you don't
a little
get the humor.
offbeat. Yeah,
It just doesn't sit with you. It doesn't vibe.
It doesn't. It's not funny. I don't think I've ever laughed watching Seinfeld, and I've tried because I'm like, I feel like there's something to it, and I just don't. It's just not funny.
Jerry, you hearing this?
Sorry.
David?
At least I'm honest.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But I mean, just goes to show you. Obviously, I mean, it's funny to someone. Like
funny
it's
to a lot of people.
huge show.
They made a lot of money off of that.
Yeah, but it's just one thing. It's just
that's fine.
It doesn't strike me as funny.
Yeah. I'm sure I could think of some. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but when I do, it'll come back to me.
Something that
because otherwise
other people like that you just don't get the allure. Vaping.
Do a lot of people like that?
I feel like we see it a lot here.
We do see it a lot here, but I think that's
Yeah.
just because it's a lot of tourists.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of people here, so you just see a lot more people. But I feel like that's something like recently, it almost feels like we've seen more.
Well, since we're in Key West,
I mean, you know, you're just like, I feel like when we talk about it, you know, it's just like, I don't get it. I don't.
Well, we don't get that or smoking, but people do it.
Yeah.
So,
and people watch Seinfeld.
Yeah, just because we don't get it doesn't mean it's not. Well, I mean, I don't think either one of those two is right. But I think that's been proven. But
good for you.
Seinfeld, then, you know, we could be wrong in that. Just not our humor.
Not our humor, exactly. I even like Old Greg.
So, I'm Old Greg. If you don't know that, find it. Yeah. I'm Old Greg.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like very strange.
It's
British humor.
Odd.
It's so odd. You can't
even
explain
watch it multiple times.
Yes.
Because you're like, first time you're kind of like, what in the
What did I just watch?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But that, if you can find it, I think it got. I
thought it was on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Old Greg. It's British. It's weird, but
I'm Old Greg,
I do find that to be funny.
Drinking Baileys from a shoe.
All right. Toilet paper roll.
It's not even a question.
It's not even a question. It's over. It's over. If you say under,
don't even finish that sentence. If you say under,
you're at the wrong podcast.
You're at the wrong podcast. Living in Key West ain't for you.
You have the toilet paper come out from the bottom. All right. Okay. If you were president, what would be some fun or interesting ways that you would suggest that countries resolve their differences in order to avoid war?
That's a good question. I mean, you could do like the typical ones like arm wrestling maybe, but maybe like cornhole could be cool. Like maybe you make it not just one thing. You make it like a
like on kind
of like the yes, exactly, like old school, like the Olympics or something where it's like it's combined.
Yeah.
You know, you have multiple things.
You do like beer pong,
cornhole.
You could do like a
arm
quiz.
Wrestling.
You could do like a.
You can do a test,
like a trivia.
Yeah, a pop quiz, pop trivia.
You mean like pop culture?
Yeah, pop culture trivia. And another one is like, it's a big thing right now, and I guess maybe this is maybe what I don't get, but it's a big thing that I see a lot, at least on social media, is where people slap each other.
With the tortilla?
No.
Oh, just an
I don't get that either. That's, in my opinion, stupid, but...
you have multiple answers for that question now.
But, yeah, now I told you I'd get them eventually. No, it's literally like, it's like arm wrestling, like, you know, professional arm wrestling, but it's professional slapping.
That's
like,
awful.
It's literally, we'd be standing up next to each other.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the rules are, but I think you can't like take a step back and step forward. You can swing your body back and then you just come across and nail the person.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
I've seen people completely be knocked out cold.
Wait, I have another one for people like it, but I don't get it. Boxing.
You just don't like any violence.
Yeah, period. No, it's true. It's true. But also, like, you're just hitting each other.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All facts.
Maybe we'll just have an entire episode of things other people like that we don't get. We're going to be like Jay's from Modern Family. What was his?
Oh God,
Jay's podcast. What was it called? Jay's something.
Jay's Talk.
Yeah, something like
Jay's
that.
Morning Talk.
And he's like, what's with online menus?
I
want
don't
a printed menu.
I want it in my hands.
And then he had the one troll, and it was the guy from
Closets. It was Earl from Closets.
Closets. If the next word you're going to say is Closets.
What else would we be saying? So, I think that's probably good for now. We need to say something for.
Wait, I have one more question, and then we can.
Oh, you got one more?
Yeah, I got one more. Well, it's actually a two-parter. So, what is your all-time favorite movie?
All time. I'm actually a really big movie guy.
I know you don't like this question because
I don't like this question because I like a lot of movies. I don't think I could point out one perfect movie.
Yeah.
There are some movies that I like to turn on if I'm going to take a nap.
Nap.
So I'll turn on like National Treasure. Nick Cage, if you're watching, you put me to sleep. Thank you. But I like to put that on, or Pirates. Yep. That's a good one, or any of the Marvel ones. But the Marvel ones are actually some of my favorite ones to watch. Also, like I really like when new ones come out, and I can also just have those on in the background and watch them. The Harry Potters, like those. I like a lot of that type of movies.
Yeah. Someone's coming up the stairs.
If it's there. No, it's
I don't think he has keys like that.
No.
And then what do you, in your opinion, is the best holiday movie?
Holiday movie.
I have
That's
like
a good one.
3.
I mean, yeah, because they're all it's Santa Claus 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, I have 6.
Okay, fine. And now I like a TV show, holidays. Favorite holiday one? I don't know. I mean, maybe like Elf, I guess.
Oh, I didn't think of Elf.
I'm sure there's more. I mean, then you have the major question is Die Hard, a Christmas movie.
I don't even like that. Like, I don't even think I've ever even seen that movie to even like weigh in on if it's.
So you know those, but you know we do like to watch like the Harry Potter movies during Christmas, just because it kind of gives you that vibe, gets you that feeling of like Christmas time.
It's like whimsical and
yeah.
So do you want me to tell you my favorite Christmas movies?
Shoot.
All right, so for me it's tied. It would be very hard for me to choose between the Santa Claus. I love the Santa Claus. Home Alone, such a classic. And that just like makes you feel good when you watch it and makes you laugh. And then Serendipity. I love Serendipity. It's such a good movie. It's such a like.
There's just a lot of good movies out that were made a while ago that I don't feel like they've been doing lately.
Yeah.
I mean, like, especially when you go back to like the funny ones, like
oh my gosh,
Old School or
Wedding Crashers
and all those. It's just like,
I know.
Golly, please come out with another one like that just makes you laugh.
I know.
You know, and sometimes it's those movies that have been out for a couple of years that eventually catch on. They become those cult classics where you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then you'll start watching, you're like, oh my God, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
So, so those, you know, in the Hallmark Channel during Christmas time, they played.
We got into that like a few years ago.
A couple of years ago, yeah.
And
you can leave that on all day. I mean,
oh my gosh.
On all
and
day.
They're basically all the exact same premise. They're cheesy as anything, but they definitely like have a feel good energy, and it's just like fun to have them on like during the holiday season. It actually starts like in like October 20th. It's like in October before Halloween.
They make like
60,
70 movies a year.
It's crazy. And then every year they've got like all the 70 movies from 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8. Like it's insane the volume of holiday movies, and that they're all essentially the same premise. But we'll sit there and watch them because they're feel good movies, and
it's all the exact same thing. But if it's one you haven't seen, you're like, I gotta wait and see what's gonna happen.
Wait, so does she get with the prince, or
is that prince gonna?
Is he gonna get snowed in?
What's gonna happen? So you definitely pay attention. So. Guys, just want to thank you if you stuck around for this long. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Like I said, we're planning on putting out a new one every Monday. So we'll probably try to shoot one this weekend, so we can have a fresh one for Monday, so you can kind of know what's going on during in Key West.
And we're going to start talking about real estate too. What's going on?
Yep. We didn't talk really any real estate, but we will be talking about real estate, and
we get those questions all the time. We talk about. There's tons of properties on the market or coming on the market that are exciting and fun to talk about. So we'll talk about that if you're interested in that at all.
Yep. And we're gonna be bouncing around a little bit, but we'll find our way, and we're gonna keep it going. And once again, thanks for hopping on. if you liked it and you want to keep following us, please subscribe.
Yep.
Just click that subscribe button right there.
Yep.
And on the podcast and on YouTube.
Yep. And also follow us on
go
TikTok.
follow us on TikTok, Living in Key West.
Yep.
So we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you later.